Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Arlene Dijamco, the MultiDimensional MD. Thank you so much for joining me again today. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, comment, let me know where you're from. I always love to hear from you. Today, I want to talk about why change is hard, because anytime you take steps towards health, towards a new way of being, making those changes can be difficult. And this year, 2022, is this amazing year of opportunity for incredible change. I have been seeing that for so many people. So many of my patients are going through major transformations, even if they've already gone through them over the years that I've seen them. This year, there seems to be something more significant. And I think it's also incredible that today is 2/2/2022. And then later this month, we're going to have a 2/22/22. So those numbers, that 2 is an awaiting number. It means that your thoughts, your prayers, your messages are being heard. And so things will come to fruition. But you need to be willing to make some changes in your life in order to really step into that benefit. So I want to review for you today why change is hard. I'm going to go through some of my perspectives from a multidimensional perspective, and I'm going to go through also the 5 stages from psychology and the obstacles at each stage, and also what might help you at each stage. So we'll really be able to frame it out into practical pieces for you. So for me, when I think about change, when you step into this new way of being, it can feel like a death of the self. It can feel like you're dying to yourself over and over again, because the way you know of being, that pattern that you've lived for so long, is going to shift. And in order to do so, you have to be willing to let go of your old self. And that can be really hard because those ties, those patterns are so strong. And it's a constant letting go and letting go and letting go. And so from moment to moment, it's not necessarily a linear process. It's not like you shift, you change, you're done. It's more fluid than that. So you can go forward, feel that it feels like you're going forwards and backwards and every which way. But it's really more the process, the journey of going through it. So it's learning how to appreciate where you are now, and that the journey is worthwhile in itself. That's really difficult because I know I can be really impatient, and I know most people are kind of impatient. We want to be there, but we can't be there when you're here. So you have to be patient with yourself and very gentle with yourself. It's that ego mind that tells you it wants to keep you in a box, to keep you in the safe, which is the known. The ego self is afraid of the unknown. It wants to run the regular programs, the known programs, what you're used to, and doesn't like to take risks to create new programs, especially if there are deep, unprocessed hurts from the past. So creating change, long-lasting change with depth, requires you to have more awareness of your true self, your higher self. This is your self that's in touch with your soul self, in touch with spirit, that universal spirit. And so if you were to imagine your consciousness without a body, that would be more your soul self. It's a hard thing to do, but if you could even do that's this pink eraser method where you just imagine taking a big pink eraser and erasing your physical self to get in touch with your soul self, and then to integrate it into where you are now, into this human experience. It's that soul self that continues after death. So last time I had talked about a message from my dad: the end is not the end. So enjoy all your days, meaning enjoy the process of where you are now. And it's a big tug of war. I was talking to one of my daughters last night, and she had read my recent post that talking about neutral awareness. And she was like, "What is that?" And I told her it's awareness, a gentle awareness without steering and without judgment. And she said, "That's impossible." And she said that if you're paying attention, then you sorry, if you're paying attention, then you have a thought come up, and that thought has judgment to it. And I kind of sat back and I thought about that, thinking again. And I was like, there is truth to that, because really everything originates from this omnipotential, which is the total neutrality. It is the void. So that's where nothing exists, and everything exists at the same time. It's the potential for existence. This is maybe getting mm, like more into the quantum, and hopefully I'm not losing you in this, but I loved the truth and simplicity of what she was saying, and acknowledging the difficulty of the human existence. And she's like, you can't not have a judgment. And I was like, yes, that's true, because we are in this human world. And to be able to experience this, we have to be able to imagine it and see it. And in doing so, it is a sort of judgment, but maybe you can shift it towards a more positive perspective and come from a place that is as neutral as possible. So I left it with that, with her, as neutral as possible, because as she said, it was impossible to be completely 100% without judgment. And I hear what she is saying. And so that goes for yourself too. It is hard to be completely 100% without judgment of yourself. So it's coming from a place of self-love and embracing all that you are, no matter where you are, no matter what your difficulties you're having, what you're experiencing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And to realize, as you're making changes too, people get tired of making choices. So you tend to fall back into that default pattern, again, created by the ego mind, whether or not it's in your best interest. So just remember, this is a non-linear approach. And once you know that, and once you can start to recognize what stage you are in the process, then it will become more clear for you. You'll be able to see what obstacles you're facing, and also what kind of help you might need, or ways to support yourself. So let's go through the 5 stages of change, and these are described by psychologist James Prochaska. And the first one is this: not yet ready to change. So you may or may not be aware of what's going on in your life, or that, say, let's talk about like healthy eating, or if you're like binge watching Netflix or TV shows. So you may or may not be aware that, yes, it would be healthier for you to return to a more balanced state, or maybe you could make more healthy food choices. And at this stage, that's the obstacle, is that you may or may not know what you need to do. So you need some motivation. And at this stage, you may or may not believe that you can do it. So that can be a huge obstacle to get over. It's like, can I do it or not? So what can help if you are in this stage of not yet ready? They call this a pre-contemplative stage, because you're not really thinking about making changes yet. But the first step would be actually being aware of what you would need to do. And what can help with that is having an accountability buddy, or looking at role models who are doing things you want to do, or maybe loved ones calling you out. It's when the kids say something to parents like, hey, I wish you would spend more time with me. Or if they tell a smoking parent, like, I wish you would stop smoking. Those things can be really impactful because somebody that you care about is thinking about you and cares about your health. And then you care about how they feel about you too. So that can be a motivating factor to move you from the not yet ready stage to the second stage of thinking about it. This is the contemplative stage where you are gaining insight. So the obstacle here is that it can be really frustrating to be in this stage because there's lots of uncertainty and there's a huge fear of the unknown. You don't yet know what it's going to, exactly how you're going to feel or how you're going to be. It's like a new way of being once you take the step towards action and to transition. So it's a lot of unknown. And it's that getting comfortable with that unknown. So what can help with that? Well, it helps to think about your why. Why do you want it to change here? And think about how you would feel if you would make these changes. Because if you want to change, then chances are it's for your benefit on any layer, the physical layer, the mental, emotional layer, and the spiritual layer. So how would you feel if you took the steps to get more exercise? Maybe you want to build up your strength. Maybe you want to have more energy. Maybe you just want to feel happier and more joyful and more at peace and have more presence with their interactions with people. So imagine what sorts of benefits that you would get and how that's more aligned with your true self. Your true self is that always loving self and comes in with its own gifts and it does have your own personality, but it's what would make you feel really alive and really free. So, so you're starting to think about that. And then going forward, you start to go into the preparation stage. So this is the making a plan step. And this is stage 3. And this is where the obstacle here is that it does take some time and commitment. That commitment is the intention, which takes some willpower. So you have to choose it. You're making the decision to make a change. And it does take some preparation. So often they say it can take a month to prepare. But again, that time period is fluid. It could take a weekend, it could take a day, it could take several months. But the sooner that you start to take action, then it'll start to like unfold. But here we're still in the preparation stage. Okay, so what can help you through this stage? It's about exploring and coming up with contingency plans. So exploring like, when do I tend to slip off? And like if you want to go exercise every day, or if you want to eat healthy, when is it that I run out of time and I just go through a fast food drive through or just grab whatever it comes out of box and instead of making like a healthy meal? And what could I do to ensure that I have healthy meals available to me so that I don't get run out of energy and have to just grab the next quick thing? Or if you're wanting to walk every day or go for exercise, it's like, what happens? Is it because I'm running out of time? Do I not have it scheduled into my day? Do I need somebody to go with me because that would help me to actually to follow through? And make concrete, measurable goals with a where, when, a what. So you schedule your self-care into your day. When are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it? How long are you going to do that for? So whether it's like for exercise, like pick a time, morning for 30 minutes, I'm going to do some yoga, or I'm going to go to a class, or I'm going to go for a walk with a friend at this time for this long, and have it scheduled into your day. When you can have those measurable, concrete steps, then they're easier to follow through and actually look back on and feel that you are being successful. So the next step is to move into stage 4, which is to take action. So the obstacle here is that you can get some negative feedback. The dogs again. Some negative feedback from anyone involved in your prior behavior. So if you're used to getting fast food all the time, and your friends or your family who would get that with you, it may start to complain that you are eating healthy or you're choosing something else to do. Or if you want to cut down on your alcohol consumption and you're used to going out with a group and drinking pretty regularly, then that group of friends may start to complain that you're changing and they're not necessarily ready for you to change, and they're not necessarily ready for themselves to change either. So that can be a huge obstacle. Another obstacle is that the change is nonlinear. So you could take action one day and feel like you slip up another day and feel down about yourself about it. So remember, what you can do to help is to celebrate every small win. So it could just be jumping up and down, or if you, it's anything that you want to do. It could be that you buy yourself flowers, or you spend you spend a little time, like maybe sit down and read a book for a little bit after you've had a healthy meal. It's anything that you want to do. For me, my celebrating small wins is really just feeling it in my body, and I will literally jump up and down and just breathe it in, because that soaking up that sensation and the feeling and soaking up the moment is so rewarding for me. And then it gives you great feedback of how you feel. So every time you make a change and a step towards your healthy behavior, that you get to celebrate yourself. So remember to keep a growth mind step in this stage, and that you can learn new things, because it's going to be back and forth. You will be back and forth from stage 4, taking action, to stage 3, making a plan, back to stage 4, and then maybe all the way back to not yet ready again. So your plans need to be revised, and going back every week, every day, and reviewing what are your plans, what are your contingency plans, what are your concrete plans that you've made and schedule into your day with a time, where and when, who, what, all those details. And then going back to taking action and review and revise your plans regularly. So it's that back and forth. Okay, so the last stage, after you've been consistent and making progress for, say, at least 6 months or more, then it's about getting into that maintenance stage. The obstacle here is that you can rebound. This is the same obstacle at any stage, that you can rebound and start to judge yourself. And so what helps here is constant, just a regular reflection of every day, imagining what you would do differently if you're reliving through the various stages. So creating those contingency plans at any stage, and reflecting on your why and how far you've come. So celebrating your wins, celebrating your gifts and your strengths, forgiving yourself for any slip-ups that you have made. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a human being. And you appreciate yourself at any step. So you can celebrate yourself at any step too. And that is a reflection and embracing yourself and loving yourself. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I find that is very helpful to look and reflect what stage are you in now? What do you feel for yourself? Are you in the not yet ready? Probably if you are watching this video, you are at least in the thinking about it stage and considering ways to incorporate healthy behaviors and habits into your life. So consider where you are, what your obstacles are, and those ideas of what can help you. So I hope that you enjoyed this today. Lots of love to all of you. So good to see you as always. And I will see you next week, 11 a.m. Wednesday, on another episode of the MultiDimensional MD. So that's going to be 11 a.m. EST. So have a beautiful rest of your day and week, and I will see you next time. Bye.